Hey, what's going on? Mike Lake here, and I'm totally stoked because we're finally fixing one of the biggest problems with the 2019 Toyota Tacoma. All right, if you've been following along, you know I have a few issues with the designers of Toyota. Yes, they made a lot of issues, and we've been slowly trying to fix a lot of those issues. The biggest one right now is that 3.5. That 3.5 should have never been put in front of a manual transmission. It's okay. Yes, it has 275 horsepower, but it's at 6,000 RPM. Who in the heck goes rock crawling or tows or anything like that at 6,000 RPM? So what we're going to do today is fix that by putting a supercharger on it. Oh, that is going to look beautiful once I actually fix it. All right, so we still need to install this thing, and I would have to say so far the packaging, everything like that is actually pretty good. Look at all those boxes. All right, I didn't throw away anything yet because I want to have this thing installed before we actually clean up. So it does come, it doesn't look like it's a lot of pieces. Go ahead and lay them out once you actually get it, and follow the instructions. Now this video here is actually going to be, all right, how we installed it, and we're going to go through step by step all the way through. I might skip a little bit here and there because like one step is, all right, take off this bracket. Okay, I'm pretty sure you can do that. So make sure you take your booklets and follow them step by step if you're doing this at home. Now, before you even get started, first thing you want to do, like I said, unbox everything, because there's two sets of instructions. One is the big book. This is 80 pages long. I've already read it 3 times. I'm going to be ready to read it again. The other one is your software. Now you need to do this before you even turn a wrench on your truck. So what you're going to do is take your little VF tuner and figure out which one you got. So there's 2 different types. This one right here, and actually it just says it right on the side on which kind you have. You could have the Legacy. Most of the ones nowadays are going to have this one right here. This is the Y-Flash or We-Flash. So anyway, hold on. Okay. So anyway, it has its own separate little booklet. Now it does go through step by step. We're not going to go through that because we don't have that kind of time. So you're basically going to go to Magnuson.com and go ahead and download the software. Once you get up there, you're going to reach a certain point like that, and you're going to actually have to email them the form. So you're going to go back to the website, you're going to fill everything out. Some of this stuff is like that number right there that's going to pop up is the actual number that's ingrained into your VF tuner little module, and you need to send that over there, a bunch of all the other information to Magnuson, and then they will email you back. That takes at least a day. All right, so you're on day 1. But then you're still not done, because once you get the license, then you license your software and you're good to go. Great. Hook it up to your truck. Okay, they need files. So you're going to be downloading some files, VIN numbers, all that type of stuff. And guess what? You need to go get form number 2 from Magnuson.com and send that over to them. Once they get that, they're going to go over all of your truck. So is it stock? Is it been modified? Is it whatever? And then they were going to custom make your file for your truck. Don't try to start it with the supercharger on there without this file. Don't even start without this file. They might actually have questions that you didn't quite clarify in the form. Now, if you have exhaust system that you have upgraded, let them know, because that'll help the tune. If you have an intake that's not stock, let them know. That affects the tune. Injectors, whatever you have done, let them know. Now, just letting you know that some of them does actually hurt your warranty, but hey, that's between you and Magnuson. But anyway, we're just going to go ahead and go to step 1, which is getting my flash. And I've already done that, and I got my file. I'm ready to go. But now we're going to start on our 80 page, and I'm going to try to keep a lot of the talking stuff short because it is 277 steps to actually get this stuff right. So let's get a quick refresher and start with step 1. All right, so refresh my memory a little bit. I did read it a couple times, but I just want to make sure I get it right so I don't mess you guys up. So first of all, yes, get your codes, get all your stuff, get all that stuff in your possession, all your config files. Also, before you start this, either A, burn everything out of your tank unless you have 93 octane or 91. It's 91 and above. If you have 87 in there and you try to run this thing, it will start pinging all over the place. So make sure you have the right fuel. So in North Carolina here, we have 93 octane. I know I have 93 octane because I have an actual tune on there to actually that needs it. Also, it does have a sticker for your fuel cap just in case you let somebody borrow your truck. They're going to know, hey, I need to have 91 octane at least. Anyway, so right now there are pressure in your fuel lines. You want to get rid of that, or else it could get messy and you could get it everywhere. So we're going to pop the fuse, number 4 fuse underneath the hood for the fuel pump. So let's pop that now. Alrighty, so we need to get number 4 fuse out. It is the only 15 amp fuse in here, so we're just going to pull that out. Make sure it's still good. It should be because it was just running. So now what we're going to do is actually crank it up until it dies. All right, good. It didn't start. That means we got the right fuse. So I should have enough pressure out of the system so it won't go all over the place. So let's go to step, whatever we're on. What are we on? All right, we're on step 6 out of 277. So keep track. Just got to disconnect the battery. I'm sure you can do that. All right, I just went ahead and took the whole battery completely out so it's not in the way. And not only that, I like to put tools every darn where, and I don't really want it to go and spark and blow up across the room. So the next thing we need to do is actually drain all the fluids. Now, I did go out and purchase, just don't look at the logo on it, because they're not a sponsor. Anyway, I got a nice clean bucket because I do not have a lot of miles on this particular rig. So I'm going to reuse the coolant that's in it. Well, I'm going to inspect it, and then if my little thing over here, all right. So I'm going to test, and if my little doohickey here says we're good, then we're good. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and pick up some appropriate coolant, because you're going to need it for the supercharger because it's a water-to-air cooler. And make sure you have some on hand and a full set of oil. All right, so before you actually drain all the fluids, you got to take a couple pieces off. Now, not all the vehicles are going to be exactly the same. This one right here is a 2019 off-road edition. So we do have a few skid plates, and unfortunately it is covered in sand. So it's a good thing I actually taken apart. I'm going to clean these off before I put them back on. So you have to take the front one and the back one off because you need to get access to your radiator and also your oil. Now, as you can hear, it sounds like it's peeing because I'm draining the coolant out right now. And again, make sure you get the right coolant for your application. Color is important as well. A lot of Toyota stuff, it's like a pink type thing. A lot of the other ones might be green, it might be blue, whatever. Just get the right stuff. Go OEM if you can. Now I have to pee. Alrighty. Alright, as you can see, I'm peeing. Anyway, so there's your little pepcock. So you can either put a hose down there just to get it into the bucket, or you can just undo it and let it fall. This is going to take a while. So while it's doing that, I need to drain the oil. Now for that, I'm just going to grab one of my big buckets over here on the wall. So unfortunately, that one's full because of the Lancer. This one is full because of something else. So that one's going to be our winner, I hope. But the next thing we need to do is actually get the whole front fascia off, because we need to have room in order to put the intercooler in and also be able to reach stuff. And I think what I'm going to do once I drain all the oil, and change your fuel filter, but don't put any oil in it until after you're done, because we need to move a couple of things. The oil filter relocation, there's a bracket for that, so just keep that in mind. But in order to get this guy off, it's very simple. Some 10 mils right here on top and a bunch of clips, a little bit of electrical. Don't forget those, because you do not want to mess up this sensor here, because I did, and it's annoying. Anyway, let's get these things off. 10 mil. All right, so all the fluids have been drained. I went ahead and replaced the oil filter. Now do not put oil in it yet because you're gonna do that a little bit later. We do need to move the oil filter bracket. There's a spacer over there for that a little bit later, so don't put any oil in it. Don't put any coolant in it either because there's some other hoses we're gonna have to replace. So it looks like I might be all right with the whole winch right here, so it's not gonna be in the way, but we do need to get a couple other things out of the way first. So the next steps that we're going to do is actually take off this entire bracket along with your horns and stuff like that because we need to get that intercooler in there a little bit later. But for right now, take all this stuff off. Don't forget all your electrical connections, and hopefully if I can get it out. There you go. All right. All the brackets, all this stuff got to go. We'll put it back in a little bit later, but for now, out of here. All right, so when you pull this one out here, there's a little button that actually is hiding this little bolt here. You just kind of pry it out. Use a knife, pulls right out. You can get that bolt out. Get these two guys out here. These are 10. These are, I think, 11 or 12. I don't know. Anyway, so don't forget to undo your electrical connection. Now this one right here, you just want to twist it and then it pulls right out. But yeah, while you have it out, lubricate it. All right, still not done. We do have our horns removed. We have our latch removed. Now we got to take off more stuff. All right, so we are on the passenger side, which this guy right here has got to go. We need to modify it slightly. So what we're going to do is actually going to go in here and find out where all the little push buttons are, which that one right there, which is my tool. Oh yeah, I got this little guy here. Awesome. Love this thing. Gets into those little crevices and get these little push pins out. Awesome stuff, man. Okay. Now this should just pop right out for you, but I have a winch in the way, so it's a little difficult for me, but it's fine. It's out. Alrighty. What's next? I'm excited.
Hey, thanks for watching the show. Hey, if you need some outdoor speakers, indoor speakers, whichever, go ahead over to Hyundai and go ahead and get you 10% off. But if you need some LED lights for your trucks, your tractors, whatever, go over to Exito and get you 15% off. All the promo codes are down and below. Don't forget to hit the like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe. And we'll catch you later. Enjoy the show. I got to clean up.
All right, I took the wheels off. It is lowered a little bit. I can actually reach some stuff, which is awesome. A little bit later on, we will have to jack it up and actually do some work underneath. But for right now, this is what we need to do. So next thing you want to do is take off your cover. You might want to put this on the wall because you're not going to need it again. It's going to be a good decoration. All right, so next thing you want to do is get rid of some electrical connections. So you want to take this one, this little bracket off, that little bracket off. Go ahead and unplug it from here. And then there's a PVC valve hose. There it is right there. So, oh my gosh. All right, this little hose, go ahead and undo that and leave it out. And then we'll be on to the next step. I need to get that out first. All right, a couple things you need to take off because this whole intake needs to come off. So there's a bracket right here. That's a 12 millimeter. That's a 12 millimeter. This also is a 10. This actually will disconnect your heater hoses. Those are important because you got to have heat. All right, also you got a little bracket actually set right here and actually hold your intake on. It goes down to the timing cover. You're going to go ahead and remove this. Don't worry about it because you're not going to reuse it. You can also put it on the wall right next to your cover over here as wall art, because you don't need it anymore. You know, if it wasn't for my desire to help you guys out, I would not be filming this. This is a pain in the butt. Anyway, don't forget to take your intake off. A lot of the stuff is not going to be reused. In this particular application, the actual factory box will get reused. Maybe a little bit later, I'll put a coal induction kit on there. But for now, we're just going to get it out of the way. Now, when you actually take that off, don't forget your mass airflow sensor, which just sits there right on top. You do have a little hose that goes onto the side. Just go ahead and make sure everything is disconnected before you actually rip that thing out. And then you should be able to get to everything you need. Now we do need to take the intake off here, or your throttle body. So we're going ahead and disconnect our electrical. our electrical. There we go. All right, so we are gonna actually reuse this guy, so be careful when you actually take it off. And now we're getting to certain areas right now where you're gonna have open engine. Be careful, do not get any dirt, dust, whatever. I mean, you can't avoid all of it, but hey, try best you can. Hey Toyota, here's another tip for you. Have places around where you can put tools. You know, it's kind of nice working on vehicles that are not, 20, 30 years old. Bolts are still cleanish. The plastic connectors don't just break off into your hand. All right, so I'm taking this guy off. Now, it is going into a plastic housing. We're not actually going to be reusing it. But what I have a tendency of doing for items like this that has very tight tolerances is to break them off first. Don't just take the bolt all the way out. Just, loosen them a little bit all the way around to try to attempt to actually have it pretty even. That's just me. Oh, got another hose. There we go. Nice little throttle body. Now, before I put this back up there, I'm going to spray some cleaner all around there just to try to get some of the smuts out of there. Alrighty, so now that we have that out, it is time, as soon as you get all those brackets off and you get your intake off, it's time to get the upper intake off. Now this one right here is actually pretty interesting because you have 6 bolts and 2 nuts. Now I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 back here, 5. I haven't quite found the 6th yet, but I'm sure it's in the instructions somewhere. Anyway, there's a nut right there and a nut right there. So you can take all those off and this upper intake actually comes off. And now this is when you're gonna have an open engine. Try not to get any trash in there. If you wanna put some tape down, put some tape down just to make sure you don't drop anything. If you drop like a nut, a screw, or anything in that intake, okay, you gotta get that thing out or else you're going to blow up your stuff. So just be careful. 12 millimeter. All right, hopefully you can see. Now I did have to take this one little hose off here. I went ahead and pushed that over to the side. I am actually following the directions, just not as closely as I need to, I guess. What the heck? I grabbed the wrong one. That's an 11. Can't do 11 because it's a 12. All right, now again, just crack them. Skip around if you can. Okay, I don't have 6. It says I had 6. I don't have 6. All right, so if I got all of the, okay, I have all the hoses, all the connections, this should just pop right off. So far, I missed one electrical connection. What did I miss? There we go. All right, so there was a connection way in the back that I missed. Should follow directions. All right, so I went right there in the back, but this gets to go away. Ugh, nasty. All right, don't throw it away because you might need some parts off of it. All right, the oil concerns me a little bit, but I'm not that overly concerned. All right, so we need to take this vent hose off. Just squeeze it and it comes right off. We're gonna reuse this a little bit later, so put this over to the side. Put it here with all my parts. All right, sorry about that. We're back at it. If you hear any noises, because my daughter's upstairs doing a woodworking project, so hopefully it doesn't disturb us too much. So also make sure you take off of your connection for your fuel rail and also all your injector lines. There's one there and there's one back here. Now the next thing we need to do is actually get rid of the fuel line. Now this right here will go into this fuel rail, go all the way back over. Anyway, let's go ahead and move this. So I got some paper towel right here. We'll just go ahead and put it under here because this will be making a mess. Now hopefully everything was nice and drained. So when we undo this connector, it shouldn't spray everywhere. But I'm going to keep you way over here so you can look at a distance so I don't mess up my camera. So in order to get the fuel line off, we're just gonna take a little pick or a screwdriver or something like that and actually pull this up. There you go. All right, so we got a little bit of fuel in there, not too much, but we should be in good shape. But right now we need to get all the bolts and stuff like that to get the lower intake off. Now you might need to push a couple of things out of the way and actually get to the bolts, but be careful, do not mess up your injectors or you can be right back here doing some crazy stuff.
Hey guys!
All right, 12 millimeter. Now remember, don't drop anything. All right, they're all off, so hopefully this should be able to just pop right off. Okay, there we go. Now she's out. All right, now with that thing out of the way, inspect your gaskets because they do say to reuse them if they're not looking too bad. I would have to, this is disgusting. There you go, should be able to see it now. See, now that is disgusting. What the freak? Oh man, boy was that disgusting. All right, so put some tape over there just to make sure nothing really gets down in there. I did try to clean it up as best I could. Got down into the actually intakes and try to clean it up as best I could. That is disgusting. I think what I'm going to do, once this is all done, we're going to put a catch can on this thing. That should help it. Because I think it's because of all of the oils under high RPMs. Just shooting stuff back in there through the EGR. And just completely obliterating your intake. That, and we're going to run a bunch of cleaners to this stuff. Because that is unbelievably disgusting. Okay, so the next step here is we got to get the fuel rails off. Now each one of these are your injectors, so be careful with them. You do not want to damage them. You got 3 on this side, 3 on that side. You got 1, 2, 3, 4 bolts, all 12 mil. That whole thing comes off because hey, you're going to have to reuse them on the new stuff, which we're going to get here real soon. Now I do have it on a piece of 2x4 only because these extrude out. And those are disgusting, and we're going to be cleaning those up before we put them back inside. Now, if you can actually run some cleaner through these things, that would be ideal, just to make sure that they're clean. It's out of the truck. It's a lot easier to do. You can also clean them by putting some chemicals and stuff like that into the fuel tank and actually doing it that way. But for this time, we're just going to swap them over here, clean all the outside, and stick them on over there. Yeah. 12 mil. All right, you're going to need your spacers. Make sure you pull those off. And then this guy, so disgusting, but hopefully we can throw that away. All right, so these injectors look like garbage. Absolutely pure tea garbage. All right, another tip here. Okay, so there's little rubber grommets in here. You need to get those guys out because you're going to reuse them. I got 1 of them out, 2 of them out, but I didn't get the rest of them. So make sure you don't throw those away yet. All right, cleaning these is going to take a minute. Be right back. All right, it's our first part of bling. So you're going to take your lower intake and pull that off. Look how clean that is. That's what it's supposed to look like. Not that garbage we had before. So I kind of cleaned these up just a little bit, and we're actually going to be sticking those right in there, right into all these little ports. So 3 on this side, 3 on that side, obviously, because that's where your injectors go. And it's a 6-cylinder. But before I do that, I want to put some lube on it. All right, a lot of people say, oh, don't use petroleum jelly. Why not? It's petroleum. It's made out of gas. There we go. 1. Just make sure they're in the right orientation. There's a slight little nub on this side and 1 on the outside on that one. So that's how you put them in. 2. Bam! Loving it. All right, so now we're almost done. Now we have these little grommets that we took off the other side. Now these are going to space out the fuel rail in order for everything to line up pretty. Stick all 4 of them in. Once you have that in there, you're going to take this guy and put it in the right orientation, which would be like a so. Line up one side, then line up the other. Now don't forget, you got to lift this up or else your injectors are going to go right into the table. And that is something we definitely don't want. So I'm going to lift it up. I'm going to flip my 2x4 over. Oh, it's still disgusting on that side. Anyway, so now I should be able to line everything up and push it right in. Alright, one side in. Lube them up if you have to. Just be careful. Bam, look at that. Oh, this is going to be awesome. I'm so stoked. Add another 100 horsepower on this thing. And actually, while I'm putting this in there, look, I just want to give a shout out to the guys I picked this up from. Now, I mostly got it from them because I had a coupon. I didn't know anything about them. But even though they knew that they were not going to be installing this for me and that I was going to do it myself, they were still answer every question I have quickly. Yes, but east off-road or down east off-road. Oh man, now I gotta. All right, it's on the screen. Bam. That's what we need. But yeah, these guys were Johnny on the spot. I would recommend them for anything, only because they were awesome in trying to help me out. All right, so these bolts need to be torqued down to 18 foot-pounds. There you go. So that's where your torque wrench is coming in. When you put the new stuff on, gotta be torqued. All right, this guy is ready to go on. Now make sure you do not mess up your gasket right there. So once again, inspect your gaskets. Now according to the book, if they're damaged, go ahead and replace them. But they say that you can actually reuse these. So I'm gonna take a quick gander, make sure all the dirt's off of it. Of course, everything is sticking to it because they got that nasty crud. All right, now we're back underneath the hood and go ahead and take our tape off because we are ready to start installing parts. Make sure you don't get any trash stuck in there, all your dust. Blow it off if you have to. Make sure that all of your gaskets are in the right orientation. All right, looks good. Let's go get the intake. Yeah. Alrighty. Oh yeah, don't forget to tape this off so you don't get trash into the engine. It's gonna sit like that. Let's see if I can do this by myself. There we go. All right. Make sure nothing is interfering. It is on there. Beautiful. All right, I'm getting excited already. Not that I wasn't before. All right, so we have the lower intake in. So basically take all of you got 4 nuts and 4 bolts. All right, so now it's time to torque down the lower intake. Now it is a 12 millimeter, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab that guy. And there is a sequence. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. Now, what it doesn't say it in the book, it just says to go down to 18 foot-pounds. What I'm going to do is go down to 10, and then I'm going to step it back up to 18. So I end up on 18, but it's a little bit more. I don't know, I like it. I say you can do what you want. It's your stuff. 1, 2, 3. There we go. All right, so I did them down to 10. Let's go back up to 18 and do the same sequence. There you go. Lower intake is on. Loving it. Let's go look at a book. All right, since this guy is on there, we are ready to connect everything back up. So make sure your fuel line is in, blue tab is pushed down. Injectors plugged, other side of the injectors plugged. That one you pulled off earlier because it was too short, plug that in. Where's it? Oh, don't forget your fuel pressure. Sweet. All right, so next. All right, so basically we're done on top of the engine for right now. Obviously we got more stuff to put in, but now we got to turn our attention to the front. Now this all needs to come off so we can actually access stuff, because we need to get the fan shroud off to get the fan off in order to get down to the pulley and all that. There's a lot of steps. So come along, let's go. All right, we need to get this front cover off. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those little tabs, which this little tool works out great. Let's get this guy off so we can get going. Look at that, it's off. All right, this is where it's gonna get fun. All right, so you just need to take your little hose. It actually sat right there. Just take that off because this has to come off with it. Now, in order to get this stuff off here, you need a 12mm and get rid of all of those little bolts. Now, getting those off could be a little bit tricky, only because you got to keep the thing from actually spinning. Now, hopefully, we're going to get that done as soon as I find my wrench. Can't find it. Hold on. All right, not as bad as I thought. So just take a 12mm wrench. Keeping the belt on actually helped out a lot, so it didn't actually turn. If it does turn, you can put a strap around this guy to keep it from turning. But we are in good shape. Now, don't take them all off. So just go ahead and break them loose, because now we need to take part of the fan shroud off. So it's a 10 mil to actually get this guy off. And there should be one over here somewhere. Anyway, get that off to be able to get the fan shroud off. All right, sure enough, a little 10 mil here. Little 10 mil right down in there. Hopefully you can see it. And after that, it should be ready to come out. We hope. All right, so now you're going to take the rest of the nuts off of the fan itself, and then the fan shroud and fan should come out at the same time. Let's see if I can do it by myself, because the book says, hey, I highly recommend using 2 people. Well, there's only 3 of us here. Me, myself, and I. All right, there's my nut. Now it should come right out. There we go. That is nasty. All right, fan shroud is out. Try to be careful. Do not mess up your fins of your actual radiator. And also go ahead and put in one nut on your pulley so it actually stays in place. Man, I almost need a break. All right, next step, go ahead and disconnect your lower radiator hose. Make sure you try to catch as much of the coolant as possible. Now, once it actually finishes dripping, then yeah, get your bucket out of the way, because you don't want to get dust and dirt inside your stuff. If you're planning on reusing it, I'm going to try to do this one. I might actually just filter it out or something and get all the contaminants out of it. Oh yeah, a little bit. All right, next phase, new parts. Because remember that spacer I told you about earlier? Now it's time to put that on. Now, if your rig is equipped with a oil cooler, which would be this guy right here, then we need to go ahead and pull this off, put a spacer in there, and move all this stuff out. Hopefully we're able to. According to the instructions, it works. So you're going to need a 12 mil and you're going to need a 10 mil. So we're going to undo all this stuff here and get this stuff out of the way. Alrighty, so you have a nut and a bolt. So get all 3 of those off. There's also a small one right here, which it's just a bracket for the hoses. And what we're gonna do is actually pull these out. You're gonna leak a little bit of oil. It's just the way it is. All right, let me figure it out. I'm gonna have to call Magnuson. We'll find out. Okay, it wasn't that bad. I was just a little timid because I didn't want to break any of the lines. So basically you pull it off and then just rotate it out of the way. So we're going to take a rag and kind of clean all this stuff up. We do need to get these 2 studs out. So you need Where's it at? E8, which I just had. There we go. So an E8, and hopefully that will get them out. Let's find out. Oh, easy. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so that's where the T8 kind of comes in. I'm going to stick those to the side in case we need to reuse them. All right, I'm going to go ahead and clean that up and get ready for the next step. All right, we got our new bling. Now to go ahead and grab your spacer out of your kit, you're also going to need your gasket. Now there's 2 gaskets, one for either side. Now this right here is going to be using the bolts that are provided in the kit, and they're going to be flush in here. Now just know that is an Allen, so you need to have one of those handy. So I'm going to try to put this guy on without messing it up. Wow, that was fun. All right, so got all 3 bolts in there, and now we have to torque it down to 18 foot-pounds. Now don't forget to put your Loctite on there. They recommend blue Loctite. Just don't put a lot, just put a little bit. They just don't want them to back out. So 18 foot-pounds, go ahead and get them torqued. All right, I'm gonna strip it out. I can't do this with one hand. Where's my camera guy or girl? All right, we're back, and I went ahead and put my 2 studs back in. Don't forget to put your Loctite on there. Now we're going to need our gasket. Always have your knife on you. Anyway, don't cut the gasket. Bam. All right, so when you put this thing up there, make sure the orientation is correct. Let's find out which one it is. All right, so now that you're right side up again, we just need to put our oil cooler back on and tighten everything up, and hopefully by then we will not have any leaks. I'm excited. I love putting shiny stuff on some nasty, dirty crap. All right, sorry I couldn't do that with one hand. Needed 2. So now you're going to take your torque wrench again, and guess what? 18 foot-pounds. This is a kind of a common theme here. That's one. Alrighty, so 18 foot-pounds, almost done. So now we got to hook everything back up. So don't forget your electrical connection, because you kind of need that or your engine will not start, because it needs oil pressure. And if it thinks you don't have any, well, guess what? You ain't starting. Alright, I'll put my little retainer bolt back in. And I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be able to do that with one hand. All right, hold on. All right, you're about set to actually put the pulley on. This is the fun part. So you come with a new pulley, a new bolt, and a new washer. You got to get the old one off. Now I would have to say, I was trying to film it, but it all had to be bleeped out. Let me show you what we had to do. All right, so first I had to take my radiator completely out, only because the only impacts that I have that are, well, impact sockets are deep well, that are this size. It takes a 22 millimeter, and I couldn't get the whole gun and everything in there with the radiator in there. So I took it out. It's over there. It looks a little dirty. I might go hose that off while it's out. So anyway, hit it with the impact. Wasn't doing much. Hit it with, you know, this stuff. I actually threw a little bit of heat onto it, but also cranked up the pressure to about 165 foot-pounds. My poor little impact. I might need to get a new one. I don't know how much I just hurt it, but hey, the bolt finally came out, so I can actually move forward. So what we got to do now is take the pulley and get it out of the bag. All right, finally got it out of the package. Anyway, there is a little dowel right there, if you can see that. All right, so you have to line that up with the dowel on the actual, the old crank pulley. And then you're going to put your ginormous washer and your ginormous bolt, and we're going to sandwich this thing in there at 204 foot-pounds. So hopefully you have a torque wrench that can actually do it. Also, it didn't say anything about putting Loctite on this, but it did say put on some oil resistant silicone, which I'm looking on my shelf to see if I can have any. And yeah, You have to try to keep the engine from spinning. That's the only problem. You can put it in gear, use the transmission just a little bit. Excuse me. You can put a wrench around here so it will stop spinning. Put it on the flywheel. Whatever you got to do to keep the thing from spinning, that's what you're going to do. Now, it's really going to be hard for me to do this by myself and show you at the same time. So if you are doing this at home, I'm pretty sure you can figure this out. You're not a newbie. All right, man. Yeah, that was a chore. Remember when I said a few minutes ago, if you've done this before, you can probably figure out how to get that thing down to 200 foot-pounds. Well, apparently Tacomas are a little different. Usually I just put a pry bar, like this, in the teeth of the flywheel, and then it keeps it from rotating and you can actually get it down. Could not do that because I don't have an access panel to the flywheel. Just the way Toyota does it, I guess. Next idea was to pull the starter. That should be able to get me to the teeth of the flywheel. Okay. They have it way underneath back here behind the manifold. Kind of a pain in the butt to get to. So I'm like, fine. Stuck it in gear. Stuck it in low. The whole 9 yards. And still couldn't get it to go. So I'm like, all right, I got the serpentine belt. I'll put a pry bar on here to keep this from rotating. But then I was afraid I'm going to mess up those bolts. So then I got on YouTube. Because that's what we do. And sorry, dude. It's E39M5E4. Yeah, whoever that guy is, freaking genius. Loved it. So anyway, so I took a ratchet strap, tied it down to the frame, up and around a few times, and then going down here, and then I tightened it up. Now that gave enough friction onto this, plus the drivetrain and all that stuff, to actually get it down to 200 foot-pounds. Sorry, I'm a little out of breath, but dang, 200 foot-pounds is a lot. So, anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and clean this up, and then we're gonna get to the next step. That I'm gonna go to bed. Holy crap, that was nuts.